America 250 is looking like America 1950 in DC. What is this? What's going on here? You have a black woman right here sitting on the metro, surrounded by Patriot Front members. They have their faces covered. Here's another look at the same picture. If you're so big and bad, why you gotta cover your face? Here they are marching. A self-proclaimed white nationalist organization marching in downtown DC, Chocolate City, feeling very welcome in Trump America.
No, this country can't be racist. You know, marching down to the state capitol with Confederate flags and American flags in khakis and a fucking collared shirt cannot be racist, because this could never be compared to this. This could never be compared to this, because you know why? They have on hoods. They have on khakis. This is America. This has always been America. For every white person that says this country is not racist and it cannot be racist, this shit was founded on racism, based on race and classism. And we still got y'all out here marching to reclaim America. From what, ho? Y'all already have it. America is a white country. We're just stuck in this bitch. And we have to sit here and watch this shit because y'all think whiteness is dying. Well, maybe if you treated your women right, your race would not be dying out. I'm so sick of America. I'm so sick of the lies Americans tell to make themselves look good. When on the day of your fucking birthday, you got fucking KKK members marching down to the Capitol like they've done before.
This is today, where a bunch of white nationalists crowded a subway in Washington, D.C. And you had one black woman sitting in the sea of them looking very uncomfortable. But let me show you something else. This is Jim Crow era, where one black man is in a sea of white people looking very uncomfortable and very scared. Is there a difference? This is what this administration wants, and this is how they plan on getting it. If we don't take back midterm, if we don't start enacting laws against white supremacy and racism against black people, they're going to try to take us back here. And I guarantee you there'll be a lot of blood on this soil before that happens. That's not a threat. That's a fact.
Boys, masks off then. You can't say something with your full chest while covering your full face. You believe this so much, take the mask off and shout it from the rooftops, yeah? Isn't it your guy? Isn't it your people? Isn't it the nationalists, the white people that are running the show? Isn't it your people, and yet you're still angry? Have you considered why that is? Have you considered why you still think you need to reclaim a country that you run? It's because you're cowards. Because you're small, it's because you're weak, it's because you're incapable of leading effectively, because you hate everyone that doesn't look and think exactly like you, and therein lies the rub. You will never be able to reclaim this nation because you're incapable of building one. You are so afraid to actually stand up for what you believe in that you think this is an act of patriotism, and yet you can't even show your face.
Flag, 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 flag. To the front. Flag. That's about it. We're good. Reclaim America.
Imagine having such an inferiority complex, such a need to make yourself feel superior, such a need to make yourself feel important, that you don't spend the 250th birthday of this country, a day that you won't get back, with your family, celebrating the successes of the country. You spend it going to the nation's capital to protest a country in which you hold the House, the Senate, presidency, and the Supreme Court. This is the base of the people who currently run every branch of government. And somehow they are shouting to reclaim a country that they already control. Let that sink in for a second. The funniest thing about this, though, is that it's not new. Their ancestors already did this. They marched on the Capitol, but their ancestors were not afraid to show their faces. Their ancestors were bold and confident, not cowards with an inferiority complex. The only thing that these so-called men accomplished, other than showing people how out of step they are with their marching, I mean, my high school marching band did a better job than that. But I digress. This shows their cowardice, as well as their internalized failure. A failure that they base off of Black success. Because as we know, all of these cowards and their cowardly ancestors went underground after the Civil Rights Movement. Things got real quiet to the point that people thought racism was dead in this country. That was, of course, until Obama was elected the President of the United States. Not once, but twice. And not only was he the President of the United States, domestically, he was one of the best we'd had in quite the while. And most people living today will say that he was their favorite president. This kicked off the internal failure of the people who had a 400-year head start in this country. People who are being lapped by the Black community, even with all of their privilege. What you see under those masks are the cowardly imprints of people who have everything in this country, the most protected class in the country, and they are still angry. It's still not enough for them. They have the most white supremacist administration that they have had since before the Civil Rights Movement. And they are still angry. Why? Because Black Americans are unbothered, unafraid, and unbound by their chains. We aren't doing what they want us to do. We aren't distressed. We aren't marching. We aren't in despair. If anything, this whole situation has brought the Black community together, and we are piggybacking off of each other, circulating our funds within our own communities. We are focusing in on our success, our mental health, our children. And for people whose whole existence depends on the suffering and despair of Black people, they are not getting what they want. And they are like toddlers, tantruming, trying to get the attention of the authority figure who is unbothered by their tantrum. It's pathetic, but it represents the cowardice that couples racism today. The fake accounts, the troll accounts. People will make an entirely fake account just so that they can be racist, hiding their identities, hiding their faces. Cowards, shells of what their ancestors were. And this picture right here represents all of that. In a sea of cowardice racists, we sit unbothered, unmasked, and unafraid. The parallels to the past are certainly there. But honestly, I can't think of a better depiction of what America is and the state of the country right now. A country full of a bunch of racist cowards, loud in their anonymity.
Picture this, you're on the DC Metro just trying to get somewhere on 4th of July. Outside, the city is celebrating America turning 250. By an administration you're acutely aware emboldens racists, supports white nationalism, and celebrates hate. The doors open and you're surrounded. A wall of masked white men floods the car. Navy shirts, khaki pants, tan caps, Confederate flags. Well, for a Black woman photographed in that exact car today, it wasn't theoretical, it wasn't a headline, it was her body boxed in by men who believes the country isn't hers to occupy. This image, a Black rider cornered in public transit by mass extremists, is extremely representative of the nation and is a microcosm for Trump's administration. The men on that train belong to the Patriot Front, the group born out of the wreckage of Charlottesville Unite the Right rally back in 2017 when Trump said they were very fine people on both sides. After that rally's backlash, the group's founder, Thomas Rousseau, understood that he couldn't use a swastika. That's too outright, that's too in your face. So the symbols changed and they started using the Betsy Ross flags, the red, white, and blue shields, the language of lineage and birthright. What didn't change was the goal: a white ethno state built on the exclusion of Black, Latino, and immigrant Americans. Why do they feel safe enough to march unmasked confidently into a federal holiday chanting "Reclaim America" blocks from Union Station? Because extremism doesn't grow in isolation, these sentiments have been permitted from the top down. When political rhetoric at the highest level flirts with the Great Replacement theory, casts immigrants as invaders, and treats multiracial society as a problem to be solved, the rhetoric doesn't stay abstract. White nationalists don't hear policy, they hear that, oh, what we believe is a green light for us to enact this in real life outright.
They fought for a nation that was proud of its heritage, that was unashamed to say that America was built by and for the descendants of the European race, that was unafraid to say that we have a culture deeply steeped in the Anglo-Saxon traditions of our forebears.
That validation is exactly why Patriot Front has grown reportedly past 540 members nationwide while perfecting a specific tactic, the flash march. Sudden, choreographed, built for the camera, not for community. They don't march to persuade anyone standing in front of them. They march to manufacture footage, dominance theater for the algorithm. So when someone asks why America keeps circling back to race, the answer isn't in the textbooks. It was riding the metro through the nation's capital this weekend. For millions of Americans, race isn't a debate club topic. It's a body pressed against train doors, a face held still while men in masks film their own myth. The masks are old, the choreography is new, but the project is the same one it has always been: deciding out loud and on camera who gets to count as an American.
This picture just stopped me in my tracks. It's America's Independence Day today, 250 years since its founding. One woman sits alone on a Washington, D.C. metro train, a picture taken by Reuters. She's surrounded by masked white nationalists heading to a march. She's not shouting, she's not reacting, she's just simply there. What a haunting image, and one that should make every decent human being feel uncomfortable. This picture needs to be remembered, not because of fear, but because this should never be allowed to become normal.
The only thing I care about in regards to America turning 250 years old is the empire collapsing. I honestly don't care that this is a holiday where white people gained freedom from other white people. And then they literally said that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but realistically, that was only for white people. And more specifically, that was only for white men. And more specifically than that, it was only for straight white men. Like when they said everyone's created equal, they literally were only talking about straight white men. That's it, that's all. So I quite literally do not care about America turning 250 years old. The only reason I care about that is because I know the average lifespan of an empire is 250 years old. So honestly, we might be, collapsing. And honestly, I find joy in that because honestly, the systems of capitalism and the systems of patriarchy, those need to collapse. So realistically, I hope that's what's happening. I don't care to celebrate the 4th of July at all. Because realistically, it's not a holiday for anyone other than white people who gain freedom from other white people. That's literally what the holiday is. Like, that's not something to celebrate. It's quite literally not something to celebrate at all. So I literally don't care. Besides the fact that 250 years is the average lifespan of an empire, meaning that this empire is collapsing. And we're currently in the collapse, by the way. Like, you can just kind of tell that the American empire is collapsing. It's kind of going slow because the people who hold the positions of power are kind of like holding on for dear life. But realistically, it's inevitable. These systems can no longer continue in the way they have been because it's actually beyond corruption. So yes, the only thing I care about in terms of America turning 250 years old is the fact that the American empire is probably going to be no more. And we're within the collapse already of capitalism and patriarchy. Because I feel like people are having an awakening and realizing that these systems were actually never working for the people. It was only working for the people at the very top. And a lot of people who are not black basically got tricked into believing that they were better than just because they weren't black. But realistically, that really wasn't the case because the people at the top didn't care at all. They just wanted there to be some sort of alliance to people who don't like black people so that literally they can have that system play out and have the system of racism continue. But realistically, they don't care because those are the people at the top. So, yes, I just am ready for this empire to collapse. That's the most exciting thing about America turning 250 years old, for real.
So the 250-year anniversary American State Fair flop. There are some things that I didn't see people touch on, so I'm going to touch on it, right? The reason why this thing is flopping so bad, as a person who lives in Florida and the State Fair is always here in packed, you need the locals. That's the first thing. You need the locals. In Washington, D.C., 92.5% of the voters voted for Kamala Harris. Only 6.6% voted for the orange buffoon. So for a fair to be successful, you need the locals to come. And the minute that man made it about himself, the locals were like, fuck that shit, we not going. And like I said, I lived in Florida. There's a state fair that comes here every year, and it used to cost like $50 to go into it. I don't know what it is now because I haven't been to the fair in a minute, but $50 to go to the fair, and that thing is always packed. It doesn't matter if it's raining, it doesn't matter how hot it is, that it's always packed. The American State Fair is free. Free. And this is the crowd you get for a free event. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, during the January 6th, there were thousands of Trumpers over there. Yeah, it's because they could afford to go. Affordability is a problem right now because of the orange buffoon. A lot of these Trumpers are in rural parts of America with the tariffs, messed up the farmers, cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, cuts to food stamps, cuts to all social programs, and then the jacked up prices in groceries, the jacked up prices in gas. Trumpers can't afford to go to Washington, D.C. and spend all that money on plane tickets or bus tickets or train tickets or hotels, Ubers, Airbnbs, money for food. They don't have it. That's why they're not there. Affordability. So it's like a perfect storm. The locals aren't going because he made it about himself, and Trumpers can't afford to go. And then bots, because there are so many bots out there, it seems like there's more Trump supporters than there are. But this is the reason why this thing is flopping, is because the locals aren't going, even though it's free, and the Trumpers can't afford to go. That thing is a flop. A flop.
Hi guys, welcome to Views by Eunice, your plug for latest and happening trends. Note that this page is for educational purposes and is not to promote chaos, but to bring different perspectives into view. Thank you for watching these videos. Note that credit belongs to all the content creators in these videos. What happens when hundreds of marksmen carrying American flags marching through the nation capital on Independence Day? For Americans, the images were shocking. For others, they raise serious questions about free speech, nationalism, and the future of the country. Today, we are taking a closer look at July 4th by Patriot Front. Who are they? Who they say they stand for? Why they chose Independence Day? And why the march sparked so much controversy? Let's get into it. Who is Patriot Front? Patriot Front is a white nationalist organization that emerged in 2017 after the Charlottesville Unite We Stand rally. The group is known for highly organized demonstrations. Members often wear matching khaki pants, navy shirts, white face coverings, and march in military-style formation while carrying American flags and shields. The march conceal members' identity and create a unified appearance. Why did they march on July 4th? July 4th marks American Independence Day. In 2026, it is also celebrated the nation's 25th anniversary, making it one of the biggest patriotic events in US history. By marching on this date in Washington, D.C., the group ensured maximum public attention while connecting its message with American symbols and patriotism. What is their mission? According to the Patriot Front's own public statement, the group say it wants to promote what is called American-rooted in Europe heritage, reduce immigration, encourage stronger nationalism, restore what is described as traditional American values. The group argues that American identity should primarily reflect its early European settlers. Why are they controversial? Civil rights organizations and many scholars identify Patriot Front as a white national extremist organization. Critics argue that its vision excludes millions of Americans from different racial and ethnic backgrounds and promotes an American defined by ancestry rather than equal citizenship. Supporters of this group supporters of the groups write to enable note that peaceful public demonstrations are generally protected under the First Amendment, even when the views expressed are widely condemned. At the same time, many emphasize not that having the legal right to speak does not mean those ideas are accepted or endorsed by society. The march generated strong reaction across social media. Some people viewed it as a warning sign about the growth and extremist movement. Others focused on the constitutional right to peaceful assembly, regardless of the group's ideology. Many Americans questioned why participants wore masks if they believed in their cause. While others debated whether the event reflects a broader trend or only a small fringe movement. The bigger conversation. The march also reignited broader discussion about national identity, immigration, race relations, patriotism, freedom of speech versus hate speech. These are the debates that continues across the social political spectrum in the United States. In conclusion, the July 4th march was more than just a demonstration. It became another flashpoint in American ongoing conversation about identity, history, and the meaning of patriotism. Whether people saw the event as a protected political demonstration or as an alarming display of extremist ideology, one thing is clear: it sparked nationwide debate. Now I would like to hear from you. Do you think events like this represent a growing movement, or do they receive attention because they are highly visible despite being relatively small? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification button for more discussion on global trends and major social issues. See you guys in my next video. Bye.